What's up, folks? Welcome back to the stream. It's Tuesday. We're getting tactical today, and holy crap, has this weekend been eventful. We talked yesterday about the team format. There was a big weekend for team events because we had multiple 100-plus player team events go down this weekend, and we got to discuss some of the metagame, a little bit of a shift away from knights, a little bit of a shift towards sort of other skew lists, especially infantry-focused stuff, which is cool. But today I want to talk about singles play, probably the part of the game that more people are excited about, and talk about exactly what's doing well and some of the wild insights we can get from this metagame right now, which looks insane. It's basically absolutely weird. Now, the first thing I wanted to discuss is I made a best service of 40k video on Monday, where I talked about some of these events going down, and I talked about the Spike Club Open. It seems like something has happened, because I discussed that Jason Flanzer, who was running a Wicked Dynasty Necrons, and Donovan Sayo had drawn the finals game. They've gone 5-0-1 for a draw in the finals. I think it was originally posted 79-79. Something happened behind the scenes over here. I don't know what it is, but we now have a definitive winner. Donovan Sayo just went 6-0, I guess. They added 3 points to his roster, to his final score, and he ended up winning the final game. I don't know. I tried to find a discussion about what happened here. I imagine that they just scored out wrong, and then they went back to like tables and battles or something. We're like, oh, hold up, actually, it was something else. But I don't know. So if anyone has any information on this, that would be great. That would be much appreciated, because that's an interesting little thing there to have an event finals get totally reversed in the last 2 days, 24 hours since it was originally posted. But this was a relatively large event, 90 players, almost a major level event, and was won by Grey Knights, which is cool. However, we also see some other factions doing well, including 2 Deathwatch at X and 1. What? The worst performing faction in the game right now, besides Orcs, I believe, is Deathwatch. If I remember correctly, I took a peek at our, this is the current stats from Stat Check. Deathwatch down here at an abysmal, I think this is like a 41% win rate or something. Absolutely like borderline unplayable. Just absolutely killing it. Orcs are at like almost 39, I think is the number. It's crazy bad. It's 39, just below 40. It's crazy bad. But at the Smite Club, it didn't matter apparently what you played. You could play whatever you wanted, because we saw Deathwatch like taking it down. So let's talk about that. That's pretty cool. Philip Schwann over here running. I imagine that these are both Blackspear task forces, and I also imagine that these are similar army builds. No, they're different. They're very different. All right, well, cool. Let's hop in and talk about it. So first of all, Philip Schwann over here rocking Blackspear task force, running the Captain and Gravis armor. Big thing for him is that he brings a gun. Oh, he brought a Boltstorm, which is fine in this case. So he's got the bolter on the side. You could take a mastercrafted bolt rifle version, and he basically becomes another heavy intercessor. He adds like another dude shooting to the unit, which is fine. He also gains the +2 strength that they get from like targeting the closest thing. All that good stuff. The big thing though is that you can target him with site-to-site teleportation, and you get the whole strat for free. So you can up down the captain and the second unit for 0, which is enormous amounts of flexibility, because you almost always want to be using that strat every turn. And I think some of the builds that I played with Deathwatch when they first got their re-update brought like 2+ captains, so that you always had units to site teleport for free. So that was like basically became the second detachment ability. Plus you have a lot, like you can use special ammunition stratagems for free. Like it's just a command point every round, which is good. So Tone of the Accolades on a Gravis armor captain, Judiciar with Beacon Angelus, Coming Up Lieutenant, and a Watchmaster. Oh, I think this is basically just a Mark Hurdle list, actually. I I think it is almost exactly. So, you have the Deathwatch veterans with melee. So it's 4 Thunderhammers, a Xenophase Blade on the Sergeant, a 10-man unit. So the combo here, and this was so smart, and every person I watched Mark Hurdle play against had no answer for this unit. The combo here is that the Judiciar with Beacon Angelus gives his whole unit Deep Strike and rapid ingresses for 0. So you start him in reserve. The big weakness of Deathwatch is that they don't have a way to fall back and do anything. So once you get them engaged, it sucks. It sucks super hard, and all of their units are mostly just ranged infantry. Their units like the
Ryan G donated $10 through Super Chat.
And thank you for the Super
I
Chat,
cried
Ryan.
yesterday when Trevi said that I didn't need a range refresh.
Duh.
But now my tears have
need it.
turned to fists. The fists of 10,000 Archons. May Trevi only see Archons on GW's site search from now on.
Is an Archon fist worth 1 cent? Thank you so much for the I guess a 1/10 of a cent, right? It's 10,000 fists. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that, bud. It's like I'm so ambivalent about new Dark Eldar models. People are like, oh, they need it so much. Do they? It's fine, I guess. Like their models look okay. I don't know. Range refresh Grey Knights for sure. They're like shit. The Grey Knights kits are the highest value in 40k, but they look so bad. But yeah, Dark Eldar is like, I don't know, it looks fine. Anyway, there's definitely armies that need new kits more than Dark Eldar, in my opinion. But it is what it is. The Watchmaster allows you to fall. Yeah, so like 1 unit. But the problem is that the Watchmaster can't attach to basically any of your kill teams. Your kill teams. Deathwatch veterans do have the kill team keyword, but what you need is ways to fall back and shoot with like your Indomitor teams, and there's no way to do that. So all that he does is just basically teleport them into your opponent's face, shoot the shit out of them, shoot them super dead. And then as soon as your opponent goes, oh, I'm going to engage that unit, it's going to punch me with 3 aggressors, and I'm going to kill the crap out of it. He just rapid ingresses for free. This entire Judiciar brick right next to it. It has a bunch of random idiots in it. So like it's only 5 of the guys inside the Judiciar unit are not melee, not equipped with anything. They're just dudes. So you have a bunch of, I guess it's like you have a black shield and some shields. So you have some 4+ invulnerable saves to eat damage, right? So you can take a little bit of shooting on this unit before you go in. But then as soon as it engages anyone, the Judiciary has it fight first. So you just get hit with 4 Thunderhammers and you probably just die before you get to swing onto the Indomitor kill team. And generally speaking, if you're messed up and it's an Indomitor kill team with the captain, they do enough damage that they can clear themselves out of melee, right? They'll kill like 5 dudes engaging them. So if you've been hit by 4 Thunderhammers plus a Judiciar, which has laid you low, and then you don't hit particularly hard, or you just kill bolt rifle guys when you swing into the Indomitor kill team, then the rest of the Indomitor kill team will kill you and then be unengaged. And unless you're in like a really ranged only fight where you're playing like Militarum or Tau or something, and like your opponent is never going to try to engage you in melee with reasonable stuff. Like they could engage them with like, battle suits or whatever to try to lock them in combat, and you could try to use that combo, in which case you just use them as a melee unit, right? They just become a beat stick. Outside of those situations, it just sort of like answers this melee matchup, which is crazy. It's so strong. That was the piece of technology I think that was like had really pushed Deathwatch from being like, okay, very good Alpha Strike army, to being also just good at like sort of attritioning out from that point. They Alpha Strike, they skirmish you with you turn 1. They force you to come out to fight their Terminators. So there's 3 units of 2 units, I think. 2 units of Deathwatch Terminators. You play them really aggressively. You just teleport them or rapid ingress them into like weird places to just shoot at like 5 scouts. And then your opponent goes, aha, I have got you. I will counterattack and I will destroy you. And you're like, well, I got like 2 Storm Shield guys in the unit, so you have to get through 8 wounds and a 2+ save, Armor of Contempt, 4+ invuln. And then you start to get cycle missile launchers. Maybe you get one of the units, right? They're often less corners. They're not like in the middle of the table. But your opponent has to commit into them. Otherwise, they just site to site again, and they keep sweeping your utility away. As soon as you commit into them, you lose the game. It's over. Because you just get 2 Indomitor kill teams teleported on you. You get shot by an Incursion Squad for +1 to hit. You get shot by... This thing has deep strike, so this thing drops in at deep strikes. And it also shoots you, so they have +1 to wound. So they each probably kill one thing. And then you come in to try to fight them. You get rapid ingress for free by this Judiciary Squad. Heroic and you intervened. Murdered. And then the Indomitor kill team site to site teleport away and do it again the next turn. It's crazy. And it works like clockwork every time. It's so funny. I've watched probably 5 or 6 games with this list, and it does the same thing every game. It never changes the game plan, and it always works well. It's so funny. Yeah, it is Mark Hurdle's list, but it was being run by Travis Fennell over here at Spike Club Open. And for 4-1 record, it's it's like flawless. It's absolutely flawless. It's so fun. The downside is if you rock into something and they protect their heavy infantry sweeping, and so they don't take the bait on the Terminators, or they just like commit something stupid to the Terminators, right? And then they just hold their like 3 damage blast until after the Indomitor kill teams come in. Then it gets really awkward, right? Because at that point things are gonna get tough. But you have just enough utility that you could usually kind of like roll things out early. Learn this is the hard way at Nova. Yeah. Yeah. I know Mark's like pretty happy playing at Nova. He and I talked for a little bit over there. He's a sweetheart, by the way. I know people don't like watching him play sometimes because he feels like a hard ass playing, but he's actually just like a really nice guy. But he plays the game like it's a mechanical sort of contraption, I guess. You know what I mean? Which is it's an interesting style of gameplay to watch. It's like he's entering and he's like entering data into a computer. Is kind of how he plays the game, but he's like so fun to hang out with. Mark's so cool, yeah. Yeah, I think so. It is funny though, like I've literally had Mark on stream and people in the chat have just been like, "Oh, it's Mark Hurdle. I'm leaving. I'm unsubscribing from your channel." I'm like, "Whoa, calm down." Sometimes he is a little taciturn on the table, but that doesn't mean he's like not cool, not chill. It's weird. I did stream one game where he did get kind of salty, which I'd never seen before. And he did lose the game because the Silent King blew up and killed half his army. So I guess like there's nothing you can do about that. So I would be salty in that situation too. I don't know. And people were like, I don't like it. But I liked it. So it'll happen again, probably. Let's talk about another one. Run it back. More Deathwatch today, chat. This is... Oh, excuse me. I think I misreported the first Deathwatch. First Deathwatch was Philip Schwann, not Travis Fennell. Travis Fennell is this one, who has a different build. So this is interesting. This one is spamming Deathwatch veterans in rhinos. Super different. So, I guess to hell with Deathwatch having poor what's the word? Build variety, because apparently they have 2 separate versions of Black Spear Task Force they can play. I think the other version has like 2 Deathwatch veteran units, one's with the Judiciary, one's with the Watchmaster, just a late game punch unit, like a disruption piece. This one has 4. 4 units of 5. All of them have Deathwatch hammers, all of them have frag cannons. So they're basically utility units. They have really good sort of multi-damage melee because the Deathwatch Thunder Hammers are only weapon skill 4, but they hit for 3 damage, which is huge. We become a weapon lieutenant, 1 Tome of the Exclaimed Watchmaster. That's it. 2 rhinos to carry these guys around, and then 3 Fortis kill teams. What the fuck is this list? Excuse me. All right, first of all, Fortis kill teams are 200 points. Is that real? It's actually kind of a steal. The weird part about them, though, is that unlike the Indomitor teams, Fortis kill teams have like a million different profiles, and they're all super duper different. So, yeah, they're only 20 points per model. That's crazy. You can get up to 2 I think frag launcher. I think it's locked to frag launcher. What do you call it? Oh, I guess you could take a Venger launcher guy. Yeah. So it's 2 desolators. You can get up to 4 hellblasters. And you can get up to 4 infernus and or assault intercessors, basically, inside the list. The other cool thing about these guys is that their basic bolt rifles are superior to regular intercessor bolt rifles. So, in the comparison to like a regular intercessor squad, they're actually pretty competitive. They don't have obsec, but they can get +1 to hit and wound, targeting enemies below half strength. And they have, I think they're AP1. AP2 assault lethal heavy on their bolter shots, which is it's kind of a lot. So it's Thunderhammer, bolt gun, and grenade launcher. 1 more grenade launcher, 2 standard bolters, 4 plasma, 1 Venger, 1 super crack. So 2 indirect fire platforms, so 2 D3 Kastelan launcher shots plus the D6 Venger launcher shots. You have that X3. So you have 3 Venger launchers to sort of just pick away at your opponent from range. If you are shooting at stuff below half strength, so if they've already eaten a dive from an Indomitor kill team, these guys will hit and wound on basically 2s into 4s with 8 plasma shots and 2 grenade launchers, not counting the bull rifles or the indirect fire. So I guess like it's kind of a lot of shooting, to be honest. So it's 8 bolter shots, 8 plasma shots, a crack missile, and 2 grenade launcher shots, strength 9, AP2, D3 damage. So and plus the indirect fire is going wherever, right? Which is actually kind of neat. Then we just have 2 Indomitor kill teams, just 2 basic Indomitor kill teams. Balti Meltas, Bolts Arm Gauntlets, Bolters, Heavy Bolters, and an Infiltrator squad to hold the back line. So this is fascinating. I think this was theorized for a bit, and I think that this unit saw so little play that they just eventually got like points cost reduced to the point of playability. 20 points per battle is not that bad for this profile. Plus, if you take them in high unit counts, you do get enough indirect fire that you actually start killing things, right? It's 6 D3 plus blast Kastelan launcher shots plus 3 D3 or 3 D6 Venger launcher shots in total, which should be enough to kill a 5-man utility unit every turn. And then force your opponent to like, push forward and engage with you, in which case you just die with the Indomitor kill teams. It's no 10 Desolators. You're right, chat. It's not quite as good as 10 Desolation Marines. That was pretty wild. They used to, I guess, get like you could special issue ammunition anything, and then you could also you can still side teleport anything. So you could bounce the 10 Desolators around the table, and then you could like give them extra range and stuff. It's really stupid. It was extremely dumb. I'm glad those days are over. The days of yore of 10 Desolators just fucking ruining the metagame was crazy. But that's wild. That's such a cool result. From Deathwatch, one of the worst performing factions in the game, doing pretty well. Now we do have a bunch of GCR cults doing well. It is, I think, 100% Host of Ascension, which is a little bit less exciting. So I don't know if we are that excited about that. However, we have a little bit of Leagues of Votann to talk about. It's a cool Leagues of Votann list. So let's move over to Warzone Houston. So this was a smaller event. It was like kind of GT plus, 64 players. And ran 5 rounds. We saw Thomas, so Dom Gierber, by the way, who I talked to on my video about the Hellbrood situation. We had a little interview. Did pretty well, 4-1. Thomas Greer, though, 5-0 with Leagues of Votann. I did not talk about this army on Best Armies in 40K. I did mention it, but I didn't talk about it because the Tim Schneider's Delve assault shift was sick. So I wanted to talk about that first, but we can still talk about this one because it has Arcanist evaluators in it, which I love. So that's super cool. What happened to Final Day if people thought it was good? It's a great question. I wonder if it just doesn't interact with it because it was good prior to the new recursion mechanics, right? And I wonder if it just doesn't interact as favorably with them. Is part of it. I think also like just the raw damage from Host of Ascension is much better, and the reactive effects. I think Host of Ascension just has a lot more going on. All right. So, let's see. Thomas Greer with a Need Guard Oathband. Running Oathbound Speculator on a call, so +1 to wound for 3 yield points. Dead Reckoning on a Memnir strategist, so that's each turn, you and your opponent's turn, you don't spend any yield points, you can gain a yield point. So because Need Guard Oathband has to basically just like pour all of its yield points directly into its stratagems and its abilities every turn, this is a hugely powerful effect. It also means that if you aren't spending a lot of yield points, you can basically just rush to fortify takeover like instantaneously, like battle, like bottom of 2, bottom of 3 kind of situation. If you have the requisite objectives on round 2. So that's a really good and also not very expensive enhancement for this detachment. And I have seen the list that don't use them because I've watched games with people who like don't play Memnir Strategist, and their army like runs out of yield points immediately. It's like the difference is crazy because you're getting like basically 3-ish yield points per battle round just off of this little guy by himself. Which is enough to fuel one of your additional stratagems. And you start to just not have the enhanced versions of your stratagems very quickly in the game if you don't have it, which is always gives me a little chuckle. We have Uthar the Destined for free strats, Arcanist Evaluator, to shoot people would be good, I guess. A Hearthkin Warrior unit, 1 Capricus Carrier, so it's a full 10 Hearthkin Warrior unit, because we're not splitting it with the Sagittor. SP Heavy Conversion Beam or Broker Thunderkin. So we can do Ancestral Sentence for sustain hits too. We can pay the yield points for it, and then we can critical 4 up with those guys, which is just good. Oathbound Speculator is on a call, who I guess is jumping into Einhir Hearthguard. Dude, let's go. This unit's kind of sweet because you do pull double duty from Oathbound Speculator. It gives you reroll 1s to wound. The Hearthguard, I believe, reroll their own 1s to hit, right? That's their no. They get excuse me, they do. I don't know what I'm talking about. They have to target the closest eligible. They're just strictly worse at shooting than a Hearthkin Warrior, I guess. They have +1 ballistic skill, I suppose. But that gives them reroll 1s to hit and wound. They shoot good and they fight good. So as long as you have the yield points to fuel Oathbound Speculator, you can like Rapid Ingress them in, move forward, shoot, +1 to wound, trigger all the buffs, blow something up, charge, do the same thing in the fight phase as well. And then we also have it's a Mass Gauntlet on the call, so it's another 3 damage melee attack. And we have a hammer, I think. Yeah, on here Hearthguard. So we have 6 3 damage melee swings, plus 2 damage concussion gauntlet swings for the Hearthguard. So they will punch pretty good into heavy stuff. They're wounding most things on like 4s with +1 or 3s even, and then rerolling their 1s to wound. So it's relatively consistent melee profile. The downside is that on the crackback, they are not that hard to kill. And that's the spooky part. But at least they're only 27 points a model now. Like, that's not terrible, I guess, for their profile. For having 2 guns. It's a little expensive, but they teleport. They get a bunch of buffs. They consolidate a lot of buffs. Two Hecate Land Fortresses, double Hernkin Pioneers, Hernkin Jaegers to go in the Capricus Carrier, plus a big Ironkin Steeljack unit with Vulcanite Disintegrators, because it's sick, because it rules. Let's go. Oh, yeah, and lethal hits, for sure. Yeah, the lethal hits also helps, for definitely. Hearthguard one-shot Cadus Rex? Okay. Well, sick. Way to go, Hearthguard. Yeah, I have played against this unit. I wasn't like hyper impressed by it. It's just like the shooting feels like a little underpowered, but it is not the most expensive like elite infantry brick in the world, right? So it's like not crazy that it's just okay. And it is almost certainly one of the most effective places to put Oathbound Speculator because it affects the most attacks. You're getting probably 24 melee attacks out of the unit, in addition to what are we rocking? Plasma, so 2 shots per model for plasma. Yeah, 2 shots each for plasma, plus D3 for the grenade launchers. So you're benefiting another 40 some odd attacks with the +1 to wound as well. So there's no other place in the faction where you can get that level of efficiency out of Oathbound Speculator, which is cool. I think I like the idea of it on like Ironkin Steeljacks or whatever, but like these guys I think are more well-rounded for sure. So yeah, that's sick. Let's go. It's wild that Hearthkin Warriors are 5 points more than Skitari, have near identical stat line. Save for the 6-up field no pain or built-in rerolls. Well, they don't have a invuln save. Well, I guess they do, right? Because of the shield crest guy. I guess that's wrong. Yeah, I guess that's not correct. They don't have scout. That's a big deal compared to rangers. Good stuff. What would it take to get Tyranids out of their current slump? Invasion fleet and sub assault don't hit hard enough. Maybe faction wide feel no pain. 11th edition. This is what I think. This Tyranids are not looking good. Oh boy. The good old Tyranid talk. Every stream we have to have it. Just release a new edition. Make Tyranids not the launch faction. Put them a year in, so GW knows what they're doing. And then just accidentally re-release the 9th Ed Codex, and suddenly Tyranids are great. Give Carnifexes impact mortals. I don't know if that would do it, but it would be cool. Let Tyranid Warriors not suck. Tyranid Warriors are a weird space because I think that they are. I don't know. I don't know how you fix them without totally redefining them. They need to be basically Terminators because they're so big. And the problem is that they want them to be this like sort of mid-strength thing that's like an elite infantry. They're basically like a veteran Space Marine with extra steps right now, right? But the problem is that they're so large, they don't function that way. If you don't get a lot of them to melee, they don't do anything. If you can't hide them, they die immediately because their defensive profile is bad. So like, it just needs to be revisited as like a data sheet. They basically need to be totally reevaluated. They're just too large to be a thing that's like of mediocre survivability. It just doesn't work. Anyway. Biggest existentialist the rest of the galaxy and a joke on the table. Well, they lose every time, so it may kind of make sense. They kill all the people off screen. Oh no, not the planetary defense forces of the Astra Militarum regiments that have been sent to defeat them. Now we will defeat them with 7 Space Marines. So I guess it does make sense. Any Space Marine army worth their salt's going to kill Tyranid army on the table. So it's totally makes sense. 50 mil bases are crazy. Yeah, it's way too big. They're already like physically wide and large, which is bad for a melee unit that wants to get into melee. Being on 50 mil bases is insane. All right. let's talk about Tau. We talked about Tyranids. Let's talk about Tau. Well, we didn't talk about lists, but Tyranids are bad. That's fine. Samuel Cook over here at Warzone Houston 4-1 with Monka. Little Tau detachment action. We've got Commander Farsight already off to an interesting start. So he gives you +1 to wound while you're within 9 inches, I think, of your target. Yeah, an enemy within 9 inches. You get +1 to wound against them. You also get free strats. I don't know what the free strats are for Monka that we want to use. But I'm sure that there's some really good ones. I guess you could use coordinated what's it called? Focused fire for +1 AP, which is actually a really sick strat. You could use that for free. It selects 2 Tau Empire units, and they both get +1 AP targeting a single enemy. And that one, just like we talked about with the site-to-site teleportation, as long as one of those units has a command point cost reduction, Farsight will work on it. We'll work on both. So that's pretty cool. There's also Auto 6 advances, which you get for free as well. That's a big deal. So actually, there is a lot of really cool stuff. We've got broadside battlesuits, a unit of 2 with rail rifles, plus 2 units of 1 with rail rifles. These guys will gain assault in the early game, so they're actually a little bit faster than they look like, because normally they just move 5. But being able to, potentially come off the table edge, rapid ingress potentially, and then advance and shoot, gives them a little bit of threat range. The interesting thing about broadside battlesuits, too, is that they abuse true line of sight like nobody else, because they are a walker, so they use base measurement, and they have a round base, so they rotate for free, except their gun extends 3 inches off their base because it's so big. So they actually get to move and then pivot themselves around to get extra line of sight. They don't really need range. All they need is line of sight because their range is astronomical. So they're actually really good at peaking corners that you might not expect. You have to really be careful when you're pre-measuring their throw range. We've got Sunforged battlesuits. I imagine that's where Farsight ends up, so he gives them +1 to wound, and then they get wound rerolls against vehicles as well. The downside is that they don't get hit rerolls, which is a little bit frustrating. I kind of wish that GW would just template the Eradicator ability, because they've given it to every faction, and everyone's got a slightly different version. So Sunforged battlesuits is reroll wounds and damage, I believe. Yeah, target monster vehicle, reroll wound, and reroll damage. Eradicators are the platonic ideal. When you target monster vehicle, reroll hit, wound, damage roll. Crisis Sunforged teams lose the hit reroll for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe because they were worried about it with Monka and Sustain 2. But then they nerfed, or Kalyan, and Sustained it's 2. But then they nerfed Kalyan, so I don't know. Then you have Fire Dragons, which are hit, wound, and damage only during your turn. So there's 3 separate versions of this ability, and they all work slightly differently, and it's maddening. And these guys just got shafted with the worst one, unfortunately. We've got Ghost Kill Battlesuit to hold down the midboard. 1 Railhead Hammerhead gunship, two Hammerhead gunships with railguns. These guys don't really usually need the lethal hits, but the high impact shooting is pretty good for the late game. Once you've crossed battle round 3, then you don't really want to be stuck with just a bunch of ion weapons and hoping for lethal hits, because the lethal hits are gone, so you can just shoot them with a railgun, and that's good enough. Double Piranhas, Riptide battlesuits with the Ion, 2 of them for lethal hits off the Ion Accelerator. Skyray gunship for some backline shooting as well. 3 stealth battlesuit units and a Vespid Swinging unit for utility and spotting for the stealth battlesuits. They should give Tau shotguns that have a melee profile. I've always thought that Tau should have some effect that lets them use their guns in melee. And that used to be relics and stuff you could buy. But it seems to me that the whole purpose behind a battlesuit, a crisis battlesuit, is that why aren't we building tanks is the problem, right? If I'm a Tau, if I'm the Tau, I now embody the collective consciousness of the entire Tau Empire. And I look and I see, aha, we can build a highly advanced battle suit system that requires an immense amount of technical expertise. It requires like thruster technology that lets us carry like basically VTOL cars around efficiently. Probably some sort of like I don't know, so stationary, sustainable flight. Plus, we have to power all of our weapon systems. Plus, we now have to design a system that not only can respond to a wearer in real time who's wearing it, but also it has all of these very complex mechanisms for moving its limbs around. I could build that, which is going to be wildly expensive, or I could just put that thruster technology on a big tank and I could put all the guns on the tank. Why am I building battle suits is the question. And it seems to me like the only benefit that they would have is like when you're in those close range situations where a battle suit's going to have greater situational awareness and greater like responsiveness than a tank will. Where a tank has mounted guns that have to, gimbal to like target stuff. And a battle suit basically just works like a foot soldier who's big and has heavier weapons. So it would seem to me that the purpose of battle suits in the Tau tactical doctrine would be to engage at close range. However, once you engage them, their melee profile sucks. They can't shoot into melee because they're vehicles, which is something, I guess. It feels to me like you should just be able to use your dumb fusion blaster if you're engaged with the target. I don't know, chat. That would mechanically differentiate them from every other vehicle unit in the game. Besides, so they're not just a worse version of every other like tank. Thousand Suns Annihilator gets hit and damage rules. That's true. Yeah. That one's a little different because it's like a version of the Annihilator ability, right? It's like a rewrite of the Predator ability. But I also think that I am definitely a proponent of factions having particular mechanical focus on different aspects of the game, but not being excluded from any. And I think one big miss that Games Workshop's done is like this decision to adhere to like a color pie where only Tau can only ever engage in melee if it's a crude unit, basically. Like you can never have a battle suit with a sword or a battle suit that shoots its gun in melee. Like it's not allowed. And I think that's a miss. I think a battlesuit unit that's like a mediocre melee combatant would actually be kind of sick. Or if you just gave stuff like Sunforged teams the ability to shoot in melee, that'd be cool too. Suits in general don't have good armor compared to conventional vehicles. Yeah. So why are we putting, right, from the in-universe perspective, why are we putting our most veteran troops and the majority of like our technical know-how and consolidated resources into this thing that is easier to kill than everything else, but is a similarly sized target? Like it doesn't make sense. We could be building more Skyray gunships, chat. Is all I'm saying. But instead we decided to build a Sunforged battlesuit team. Make it make sense, In my opinion, I don't think Tau should ever have had armored vehicles. I think that's obviously that ship has sailed. There's a million things they maybe should have done in 40k, but they should have just picked one or the other because it makes like the Riptide battlesuit really weird. Like, why did we build this? It's literally just a hammerhead gunship, but it has legs. We could have just built more hammerhead gunships. I don't get it. Doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Do you want to talk about some Saga of the Beast Slayer? I think you do. Battlesuits are faster than tanks? They're not, though. Isn't the battlesuit move 8? Oh, move 10. So they're like best case scenario, they're the same. Unless it's specifically a cold star. But it's also smaller. The comparison is a piranha, right? And a piranha is like, I think it's faster than every battlesuit besides a cold star, which it's the same as. You could just no, it's faster than a cold star. Just kidding. I'll go fuck myself. So like in the faction, Tau have superior lightly armored vehicles than Crisis than battle suits. But they insist on using only battle suits. Like, I don't know. I don't get it, chat. It doesn't make sense to me. It's not the Tau's fault the Imperium made their buildings giant cathedral always. It's true. We built Crisis battle suits because we had to fit into Primarch-sized doors. Can't do that with a tank. That's the difference. Then why aren't they infantry, chat? But they're not infantry. That's the problem. If they were infantry, it would all make sense. But they're vehicles. We have fun here. It's Pacific Rim logic. Of course, they would just build giant robots to fight the kaijus. But no. It's not Pacific Rim logic, because it would be like if Pacific Rim also had an equally sized tank. It's like Gypsy Danger is like he's turning his hand into a gun and he's drawing his weird collapsing sword out of his wrist and he's going to battle with the kaiju. And then it cuts away and there's just a huge tank the size of a town and it just vaporizes a kaiju in one shot. And then it cuts back to the, these fucking drift compatible pilots getting beat on by a kaiju in close combat. And you're like, wait a minute. Wait. Why are we here? Why did we make this? It doesn't make any sense. I don't know, chat. It's just the fact that they built both. If they only built one, I would get it, but they built both. Yeah, no only Max. Yeah, I mean, in the universe of Pacific Rim, right? They have rationalized it that only mechs work. For whatever reason, the kaiju are too crafty to be defeated by a big gun or a missile or whatever. You have to fight them with a mech. Okay, I get it. It's clearly demonstrated that only the mechs are effective. Understandable. In 40k, a hammerhead railgun is a horrifying weapon that the Imperium is terrified to face because it treats the armor of Land Raiders as if it were tissue paper. One of the strongest vehicles in the Imperial arsenal. And they're horrified with them. But instead, Tau put a little version of a railgun on a little battlesuit that is slower and less heavily armored than a tank and can't fly. Why? Why did we do this? Oh, man. Robot punch monster. But the Tau battlesuits don't even punch. It doesn't make sense in any way. Anyway. Bipedal robots would be useless if you had a giant mobile cannon platform. Yeah, the only reason that there is sort of a tactical application for bipedal robots, which is that they navigate human anthrocentric architecture better. So if you're building a big tank, it doesn't go into a city good, right? Whereas if you have a little man, who is an exosuit or whatever, who's carrying your heavy weapons, he can walk up staircases, and he doesn't get absolutely vaporized by a bunch of RPGs coming from the top floor. You know what I mean? So there are reasons to not necessarily have big vehicles, but it doesn't seem like that's the Tau doctrine. Because they literally have infantry squads that do that. Those are called breachers. All right. Let's talk about Space Wolves. I want to talk about Space Wolves. The looks like Kyle Kingsbury at Warzone Houston 4-1 with with Saga of the Beast's Lair. So lethal hits on everywhere. Lethal hits for 100,000 years, Morty. Lethal hits. We've got Bjorners, Phobos Lieutenant, Phobos Lieutenant. What's up with that? Logan Grimner, Ragnar Blackmane, Wolfguard Battle Leader with Wolf Touch, so gets +2 movement and can join Wolfen if he wants to. And then Helm of the Beast Slayer on a Wolf Priest, which is, I think, the -1 AP buff. Helm of the Beast Slayer. Yeah. It Armor of Contempt to you against character, monster, or vehicles, which is most of the game. Most of the spooky stuff in the game, anyway. They should get Battle Scissors Melee. I agree. I agree, for sure. We've got 10 Blood Claws. Okay, so Ragnar Blackmane goes with the Blood Claws. So we have an advanced and charge unit. Ragnar Blackmane gives them full wound rerolls because he has an extra bonus for Blood Claws, which is nice. We've got an Intercessor squad, an Incursor squad, 2 Repulsors, 1 standard Repulsor, 1 Executioner. So we have a delivery system for the Blood Claws, which is big. Because if you don't take a Repulsor, they cannot be carried to the battlefield in anything. They're now Tactics keyworded, so they can't go in Rhinos anymore. And they are 10 models, and you can't take any less. So you have to have a Repulsor in order to deliver them. We've got a Scout Squad, Thunderwolf Cavalry ×2, just 3 units, the units of 3. Head Takers. So we have, do we have a... we don't have an Impulsor. It's just the Executioner. So we can deliver the Wolfguard Head Takers with the Executioner. I do think that they kind of, especially in this detachment, where they don't have any movement buffs besides Wolf Touch, they do kind of need a delivery system. So giving them a tank to be carried around it is big. Then we have Wolfguard Terminators, Wolfen with Storm Shields. So the Head Takers essentially move 9. The unit doesn't, but the character does. And when he disembarks, he can just lead the unit to go even further. We have Wolfguard Terminators to hang out with. Do we have a character for them? Nope. We're just vibing. Oh, it with Logan. Just kidding. It's Wolfguard Terminators with Logan. Just hanging out. Plus a Wolfen unit with Storm Shield. So I guess we could join them with the Wolfen with the Wolfen with the Wolfguard Battle Leader, but I imagine I actually think we are doing that, almost certainly. So he's probably joining the Wolfen to give them sustained hits. And then the Wolf Priest hangs out with the Head Takers. So they're actually just locked in move 7, but he gives them +1 to wound permanently, which is sweet. I imagine that's what happens. Now, this Phobos Lieutenant's interesting. Because I think he's by himself. Oh, there's an Incursor squad. So you can join an Incursor squad, which is actually kind of neat. So we're paying 55 points to try to recur our Incursor effect. So like we can Oath of Moment the thing we're going to fight in melee with Ragnar or with the Wolfguard Head Takers, and then we can Incursor the thing that we're going to shoot all of our Repulsor laser beams at. And then they can run back either behind a terrain feature or back into a transport. So, like, if you've already engaged with the Repulsor, with the like Blood Claws or whatever, like they've disembarked the Repulsor and gone to charge. You can just have the Incursor squad run up, shoot, apply +1 to wound, move, and then embark into the Repulsor. I assume that that's legal. I don't think that the Phobos Lieutenant has any. I think he just doesn't allow you to charge after his thing. Yeah, you just move 6 inches and can't charge. So he can just wander back either behind a building or into a vehicle, which is actually sick. 135 points for a support unit's a lot, but he also hits kind of hard because he has like a million AP1 melee attacks. Oh, it's 5 with sustained hits, I guess, which is okay. And lethal. He does give the unit lethal, but you already have lethal because of the detachment ability. So that one's a little bit funny. But cool. I actually wonder. I think if the combi weapon lieutenant ever like got erased from existence or whatever, I actually think that Phobos lieutenants would see play because the unit, like he himself, his ability does not require him to be leading. His move and shoot effect. So he can, and he has a grav shoot built in, so he could just like steal objectives from people. Like you object an objective and then 9-inch and then 9-inch deep strike screen it, and he just drops next to the objective, shoots you, and then moves onto it. You could do that for like, engage all fronts, behind enemy lines, all that stuff, and he does it for 55 points with like no extra requirements. He's just so like heavily overshadowed by the combi weapon lieutenant. There's almost no reason to play him. However, his actual datasheet is really good, and he's really cheap as well. He just doesn't do any damage, which is like the problem, I guess. His gun's 2 damage, I guess, but it's not that interesting. However, he actually does have the capacity to be really useful if you played him. Murderfang is in the Space Wolf Goddess. He just is not very good. That's the problem. He got like a reactive effect when you attack Wolfen near him. So he's like a quote unquote leader for Wolfen. It's like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it works particularly well mechanically, unfortunately. Instead of just being a big beat stick, which is what he always should have been. Can the Phobos Lieutenant join Wolfen? No, I don't think so. Unless the enhancement allows you to, but I imagine it's Space Wolf keyword locked because everything is. Space Wolves only, yeah. So you cannot. There's no way to join a Phobos Lieutenant to a Wolfen squad. I don't know if you would want to, because I guess he gives them like lethals, but they're anti-vehicle 3 anyway. So like, it doesn't really do anything for them. But you do get sustained hits if you join the Wolfguard battle leader in them. You're also able to play this. It's a little kind of funny, but the Wolfen almost always take their Wolf Totem as their backpack war gear slot, so they can take either a grenade launcher, which is really mid. It's 4+ weapon skill, strength 4, AP 0, assault blast, D3 shot speeds. It's like whatever, clear a screen maybe. Kill 5 T3 infantry. Or you could give them reroll 1s to hit in melee, which is like much better for a unit that is dedicated melee. However, if we take Wolf Touch and we attach the battle leader into the Wolfen squad, he gives them reroll 1s to hit. So you can now take the auto launchers. So he actually kind of improves their ranged damage output as well. And he can also give them sustained hits and reroll 1s on that too. So like, it's kind of funny, but they might do an extra damage just because of that. It's like his second leadership ability where he replaces their he lets them take a gun, which is pretty funny. Stormfrag specifically for the GSC matchup? I mean, I guess it's good. If you shoot a 20 man, you get plus 20 attacks. So it's 5d3 plus 20. The problem is they hit on 4s, and then you run away. It makes them a little bit more well-rounded because they can actually do damage to infantry, whereas otherwise they're like 2 melee attacks each. They're just really high impact melee attacks, but their Thunderhammer attacks are not particularly like high volume. The Wolfguard battle leader is okay though, because like he does have 7 off his power weapon swing. Seven with reroll 1s and sustained hits at weapon skill 2. So he helps a little bit, like clear out like a bunch of idiots. What are his options? He can do something instead of taking a storm shield. Oh, he can take a bolt carbine. Okay. All right. Well, that's cool, I guess. Get 2 shots in there. Pew pew. I kind of wish that they would just commit and let characters have superior weapons. Like in fairness, like this guy, he does have the mastercrafted guns that these guys have. Like this guy's got a mastercrafted bolt carbine, which gives him 2 damage range attack, but it's otherwise identical to a regular bolt carbine. Like imagine if it was 3 shots at like, I don't know, AP2 or something. lethal or like devastating. I don't know. Give it some keywords. And then suddenly, like, it's really interesting that you actually have a melee weapon, a melee profile, versus just making him harder to kill so he gets a chance at getting a melee swing off is like way better. I don't know. I wish they would commit to having characters be good at shooting, unless they're a psyker. Like right now, the only good characters who are good at actually shooting people are specifically people who cast psychic powers, because they just have a gun that's not a normal gun. It's kind of weird. All right, but good old Saga of the Beast Lair getting some work done. Let's see if we have anything. The other event that I haven't yet delved into is the Bahio Open, which is pretty interesting. We have some Death Guard. There is a 5-1 Tyranids. I know a lot of people want to talk about Tyranids, so we can dive into that one for sure. There's another Saga of the Beast Slayer that actually went 5-1. Manuel Albert. This one was taking Arjak Rockfist, Combi Weapon Lieutenant, Logan Grimnar, Ragnar Blackmane, Wolfguard Battle Leader. So lost the Wolf, what do you call it? The Wolf Priest. The Bloodclaw unit for Ragnar Blackmane, Intercessor Squad for the backline, utility unit, the unit of Assault Intercessors, 2 Ballistus Dreadnoughts, a regular Land Raider. Sick. Let's go. Regular Land Raider. Wolfguard Head Takers, Wolfguard Terminators, more Wolfguard Terminators. 10 Wolfguard Terminators, chat. I guess we can bring both Logan and Arjak. Logan can start on the battlefield or in reserve, and he can turn 1 Deep Strike somewhere, annoying. And then you can put Arjak into the Land Raider. It's probably what happened, I imagine. I guess if Arjak goes to the Land Raider, it's at 12 capacity, so he and 5 Terminators fills it up. And then I guess we're just ground pounding with a unit of Head Takers, or the Head Takers go inside, or the Bloodclaws go inside. Actually, kind of everybody wants to go inside. The more I'm looking at it, basically everyone wants to be in this transport. I imagine the Wolfguard Terminator is actually just Deep Strike, and then we use it to probably deliver the Bloodclaws, if I had to guess, because I think they're a little bit tougher. And then you could just like refill it with the Head Takers later on if you need to. Love to see some non-Gladius Templars lists. Once I'll let you know once those exist. You'll be the first to know. Good stuff. All right. Logan seems like a problem if he attaches because his base is too big. He even nerfs the Terminators. Yeah, I don't disagree. They do like carry him with them though, which is nice. You do have to be very careful how you move him though, because he cannot pile in or consolidate through walls. His base is too large. That was a weird situation where it's like, especially because he got like dogs on his base, you sort of assumed that he would go to like movement 7. I guess he's movement 6, right? But like, give him an extra pip of movement just to counteract the size of the base. But it's definitely a case where, and GW has been doing this more consistently for a while. It's definitely a case where it's like, they more highly value the spectacle of the miniature as like a little diorama than they do its playability on the battlefield, because an 80mm base is too big for him. What they should have done is given him a scenic base that you could detach if you wanted to, and then keep him on a 40 or a 50. But an 80 is like, fucking, what the fuck? It's so big. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. All right. Should we talk about Kenneth over here, who's rocking Subterranean Assault? High Fleet Moby Thick is the name of the list, which is good. Are there any Deathwatch lists? Controlled Carnage. Hot damn, dude. You need to scroll back to the beginning of this video, because we spent like 30 minutes talking about Deathwatch. All right. We've got Hyper Adapted Raveners. We've got a Trigon Prime. We've got no Hive Tyrants. Why? Why are bases in millimeters, but all the game's measurements are in inches? That's like an industry standard. It's, I think, because the industry has its roots in Great Britain and Europe. And so those were just the sizes that were used. They probably based it off of like some sort of existing item that they could get access to. And it just sort of extrapolated from there. But that's just industry standard. It's just how it works. It's a little bit weird. It's definitely strange. But like, if you're looking for white label bases of any kind, you almost have to use millimeter. We use millimeter for Breachstorm for that same reason, because we can get bases generically from manufacturers because they're just millimeter scaled. Just is what it is. So we have Vanguard Intellect on the Hyper Adapted. I have to remember which. I think that's redeployments. Oh no, you can set up turn 1. Only during your own turn, but it means you can turn 1 deep strike on people, which is cool. So if they push you really hard before your tunnels are active, you can still get a dude out to fight. Trigon is Trigon Prime, so +1 strength and weapon skill. Biovore for scoring, Elictor for more scoring, Neurogons for additional scoring, tripled Norn Emissary, okay, a Ravener unit so we can build tunnels, and 3 Tyrannofexes. This list is straightforward as hell. Holy shit, okay. I guess the other thing too is that if you go first, you can create a tunnel, right? Top of 1, you can make a tunnel with the Hyper Adapted. And then you can up down them. So turn 2, you can have 2 more tunnels. And you also have enough if you keep the Ravener separate and you're going second, you have enough tunnels active because you'll up down the Raveners and then turn 1 deep strike the Hyper Adapted. You have enough tunnels available that you can tunnel network bottom of 1. So you can like redeploy Norns into onto the center of the battlefield, which is actually pretty lit. So I wrote off Vanguard Intellect because I thought it was kind of trashy, but I actually think it might be okay. I was playing it on a Trigon, and the Trigon without Trigon Prime is just a fucking worthless data sheet. It's so bad. I don't understand why they have made them so bad. But it makes sense on Hyper Adapted. So I like that. That's cool as hell. I'm in. And then we could just either dump a OC-15 Norn Emissaries onto people 6 inches away and then charge them, or we could just shoot them with Tyrannofexes. Bloop. Just bounce around and shoot them. You love to see it. This is very straightforward, chat. What a list. No zone throw brick. It's interesting. Yeah, I think, in my opinion, the zone throw brick is an enormous trap. I think in every situation. I don't think I've ever seen zoanthropes gain their value back. However, I did one time, but because it was a team event and they got to choose their layout, their terrain layout every time, so we got to put it in the perfect spot. That said, I don't know where I was going with that. That was my whole thought. I'm really tired, by the way, chat. It probably comes across, but we got a new cat door just outside my little studio here for the little kitty cats. They don't know how to use it yet, despite the fact that I've put them through it many times and have shown them how to use it. They think that I have to open it, which I don't. So I closed the door today, but they got stuck, and then they started fighting. And so they fought all night because they get angry. When they get upset, they just like yell at each other. So they were just like yowling. And I let them out. Like they woke me up and they let me out, and I let them out. But I'm very tired. That's my story. So what a time. What a fun story that was. Zone's always disappointed. Kept getting killed by indirect. Yeah. They're not. I mean, they're like defensive profile's not good, right? Back in the days of yore when they were like basically free, I think it was fine. But the problem is that like you have to put so much work into getting value out of them, and it's so rare that they actually do the damage, right? Like in response, and they're expensive. If you attach a Neurotyrant to the unit, you're looking at close to 300 points for the equivalent damage output of like one vehicle. You're like, Tyranids have finally done it. We can finally play with the big boys. We have 6 las cannons on our gun, on our weapon platform. And then you look over at like a Land Raider, and you're like, oh. That one has 6 last cannons or 4 last cannons and a multi-melta, and it's cheaper and harder to kill. Why are we doing this? It's lame. It's lame and silly. Makes no sense to make a giant monster model with Scything Towns be better than Strength 9. Doesn't make any sense. It's true. That's true. Well, they only need to be Strength 9 because the only thing they have to fight is apparently Crisis Battle Suits, which are only Toughness 5. So it doesn't matter if their strength is higher because the only thing that could ever punch a big monster is a big robot. We've decided. We've determined. Played against some people who put a Neuro Tyrant with free ingress on them. They teleport into different shooting lanes. Right. But they almost never gain their value back, and then you kill them, right? Like is the heart of the issue. Like you'll teleport them aggressively, you'll shoot something, you'll be like, oh, that was pretty good. I did 9 damage. And then your opponent activates a single unit and the entire Zoanthrope unit dies. And the Neuro Tyrant's just standing there like, what am I doing here? And so you've just traded down. Like that's the real issue is that you just trade down like astronomically. So what you need is these monsters that are able to take that shot, right? Because we get basically a similar expected damage, less consistent out of a Tyrannifex because it's just fucking who knows what they're gonna do. But it's the average damage between 6 las cannon shots and 2 rupture cannon shots is relatively similar, right? This thing hits for basically double the damage of each of the individual las cannon shots at a higher strength and AP characteristic. So you can do the same thing with a Tyrannifex. It's 30% cheaper, and it often doesn't die, right, on the crackback. It's not 6 toughness 5 infantry. It's a toughness 12 monster with a 2+ armor save and a damage blank. So your opponent goes back in to kill it, and they don't kill it, and then it gets to shoot them again. So it's added value. So like when you like do the math in your head, and the one thing it doesn't do, in fairness, is like shoot infantry. And that's I think a weakness of this particular build would be like clearing people's screens. Maybe the Anorn emissaries can do that because they can like do their like blast profile into people, I guess. But and honestly, you might not be worried about it because you're just charging onto the objective and then tanking, I guess, with the emissaries. But when you consider the math into heavy targets, a Tyrannifex is like dramatically better in almost every situation than 6 Zoanthropes. Which is just sad. It's like so sad for the Zoanthropes. Zoanthropes need 6 wounds. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, if you literally doubled their survivability, that might be fine. Or give them an armor save. I don't know. Give them something. They should have like some sort of power instead of having a ranged attack. Because like it's like a cosmic effect, right? They're like literally ripping you apart at an atomic level. It should be like a power that like maybe they roll, and based on their roll, they do a number of mortal wounds. I think that would be cool. That'd be crazy though. That'd be they would never print something like that. Not ever. Not a million years. Oh boy. Give us Space Marine 2 Zoanthropes? The Zoanthropes where 1 Space Marine kills them? No thank you. The Neurothrope can restore D3, so if there's something within 6, it just feels battle shock. Yeah, that's my favorite ability because it's so clear that at one point in 40k, they were like, all right, we need unit champions to matter mechanically. What do we do? And they're like, ooh, we should give some of them like cool abilities. And there are a couple examples of this, and I can't remember off the top of my head besides the Zoanthrope one, but I think there are a couple that exist. And so they were like, let's write one. Tyranids are the Battle Shock Matters faction for whatever reason. So we'll do this one where he like pings you for mortals when he's near you. And then they just printed it and shipped it. But like, then consider that like Zoanthrope's like a shooting unit. If you're within 6 inches of them, they're dead. It's like so worthless. It's basically not even worth considering. It's so silly. I don't know. It's so funny. I did watch John Lennon kill somebody with it that one time. His whole deal, and it was in fairness, it was at Crucible like 2 years ago, which is coming up week after next, which is exciting. The Crucible 25, which I'm excited to go down to Florida and live stream. But it was back when Zoanthropes were appropriately costed and they were like basically free. And you just run a bunch of zoanthropes up to something, and you like neurolictor it a bunch of times, and then shadow the warp it, and then they would just be like get pinged trillion times until he died. It was very funny. I liked it. He was playing Synaptic Nexus. The whole goal was to do a bunch of damage with failed battle shock checks. It was a cool list. It was pretty neat. All right, chat. Do we have any other factions we would like to take a peek at before we start to get to wrapping things up here? John Lennon imagine doing damage with Tyranids. he won that event, Crucible 2023, because Neurolictor, I think it was like it immediately battle shocked to Sarassus Night Lancer, and the insane swinginess of Tyranids like came into full view because he failed. He was against Brian Jones. Brian Jones failed one battle shock check, and immediately the Lancer died from full. It was like the math swung so hard because it couldn't do any defensive tech, and I don't remember if it was a Lancer. It was something. And it was like what's what a wound.
Basket of Steel Cable donated $2 Canadian and 79 cents through Super Chat. Any ad mech?
Any ad mech? Let's take a look. Let's say I'll take a peek at these larger events. See if there are any top placers. I'm drawing a blank here, chat, a little bit. I found a 2-2-1 from Battle in the Bush. Not a lot of high placing Adeptus Mechanicus to answer the question, I guess. Here's a 3-2. We found a 3-2 with a winning record with Cybernetica Cohort. Let's go. Edward Molnar from Mad GT. Rocking Belisarius Call, a Necro Mechanic, which I think is damage blank on a vehicle, right? I think that's what it was last edition, but I might be wrong. Yes, it is damage blank on a Legio Cybernetica, or Mechanicus vehicle within 12 inches. Aren't Legio Cybernetica units also, by definition, Adeptus Mechanicus vehicles? No, interesting. Because the Cybernetica data space, do they have the ability? Do they have the keyword? I actually don't know. It would make sense, but I thought they didn't. Oh, they do. So you can damage blank for your data space, I guess. Interesting. Fascinating. Attack percentage here. Rangers ×2. Skystalkers ×2. Servitude Battle Clade ×2. Get some actions done. Sicarian Infiltrators, Kastelan Robots ×2 for the data smiths to go into. Scorpius Disintegrators with Faramite Cannons ×3. Oh, that's a lot of beef right there. 8 Kastelan Robots and 3 Scorpius Disintegrators, and you're just backing it up with a bunch of trash. Sick. That's pretty cool. Running Twin Fists on the Kastelan Robots. Let's go. We did. We live streamed a list like this at LSO, and then just moved into Tyranid and died. It's very unfortunate, but it does feel like I don't know. There's something there. It's not. I think the Kastelan Robots might still be too expensive, but I think they're worried about making them too cheap and just like it's just too good of a force multiplier. But the problem is that every time they're not that hard to kill, and every time you lose one, it's like such a dramatic reduction in their output that it goes crazy. If you go in and just like accidentally kill 1.5 Kastelan Robots, the unit's just like useless. Which sucks, but pretty cool, pretty good stuff. Space Marine 2 DLC stream. You want to watch me play Space Marine 2, chat? Listen, I will play Space Marine 2. I will not play Space Marine 2 well. I'm decidedly atrocious in that game. What is there DLC? Is it DLC or like season pass stuff? Is it like is there cool like new enemies or whatever? No, it's all season pass stuff. Sad. Free LC. Serious question. How come we don't see more rack focused Drukhari lists? I do have 100% win rate with all homunculus covered Drukhari, so it's clearly the best army in the game. I just think that I don't I think it's like how many points is a homunculus? I think they're a little too expensive. They're 60. They're 60 for kind of a dipshit dude, right? Although, like, all these numbers are about to change, so it is what it is, right? Because they're about to get a new codex. There's 60 points for a guy who's kind of doesn't do anything. He gives you the Feel No Pain, which is great, and his melee profile is good explicitly against infantry. It's AP 1d3 damage. It's like fine. It's nothing to write home about. But otherwise, he's just another guy. And so I think in order to make the rack units themselves good, you need this dude, and he's slightly too expensive. That is my opinion. But the unit having a 4+ Feel No Pain's actually really sticky. Especially if you play them in like real space raid, and they can get -1 to be wounded too. Ooh, he makes enemies -1 to battle shock attacks with 6 inches. Let's go. Got him. But I do like them. The rank unit itself is like another whatever it is, like 100 points. Yeah, 110. So it's 170 points for a unit that does nothing but stand on objectives and shoot a little bit. So I would say it's almost entirely points value. I think if you cut this dude to like 40, you just start seeing him. And if that unit was 150 for 10 dudes that were hard to kill, it would be great. Unironically great. I was very impressed by the unit. It did not feel like it was getting its value for points, but I was very impressed by the unit. But if you cut this guy's points value, I think you would for sure see rack-focused Drukhari. Did I stream playing Imperial Fist? I have not. I kind of want to do it today. I do have some list that Ryan has requested that I haven't streamed yet. However, I do have like a ton of stuff to finish, and I'm feeling the pressure a little bit, so I might end up just editing videos. So we'll see. Rack should be 2 in infantry. I think that's probably that's almost certainly true for sure. All the minus battle shock effects in the game just need to be forced failure once per game. Yeah. Or, I don't know. They're started to do a thing, which I don't know if I love. I think what they should do is they should make leadership tests rerollable and then have more effects require leadership tests. And then, instead of anything affecting battle shock tests, have it affect leadership. So like then they start to make it like an actual mechanical framework instead of just having it be like a weird one-off thing. Because right now, you like a battle shock check is a leadership test, and like a dark pact check is a leadership test, and like the Black Templar Kastelan ability is like a leadership test. And then like there's the one effect to like respawn a guy from Coterie of the Conceited, which is a leadership test, which is an enhancement, which feels bad. But if you had a bunch of abilities that were like, let's say Typhus is we're just going back to psychic tests, actually. What if we had a thing, chat, where you had like 2d6 and you rolled it to see if you got your powers off? Wouldn't that be cool? And then they did mortal wounds. But if we had like Typhus's ability, what if that was a leadership test? What if you called? You could even make it a different mechanic. But like, what if you called psychic tests for Kabbalistic rituals? What if you called them leadership tests and you had things affect them, right? You didn't change the warp charge values or anything. You would just say what they need to succeed is different than what your normal leadership value is. But then anything that gives you -1 to battle shock would just also give you -1 to leadership instead of just the battle shock check. And then suddenly it's like, ooh, now I have to be careful about all your leadership auras because a bunch of my abilities trigger off leadership tests. But I could have redundancy because I could command reroll them. I think that would be a much more interesting system than what they have right now. Battle shocking can sometimes just like straight up lose you the game if you do become battle shocked. So I don't know if you want to have things that are like, you get battle shocked, because then that could be really super powerful. But if you have more things that need leadership tests to go off and you manipulate leadership tests, I think it's interesting. Too harsh on new Raven Guard. Been cooking with it. I actually think it's kind of neat. I think new Raven Guard's probably pretty sweet. I don't like Ethan Sean. And for all the reasons that we had a whole live stream about how fucking broken his datasheet is from a like mechanical standpoint. Not overpowered, just doesn't work. But I do think if you play around his stupid ass ability, then it's actually probably a fine detachment. Ethan Sean. Yeah, it's just a regular guy. Absolutely. Oh man. Dean, would I be able to help with a ruling from Saga of the Bold? Sure. I'll read a ruling. Yeah, the free strat's so core for sure. And then also like you can like worst case scenario, you just pick something that's like on the other side of the table, right? And you just don't get the charge rerolls. It's just annoying that it's not a May. Like it's not a May that you don't have to charge them, and it's not a May that you don't have to use the ability. It's required. It's so stupid. It's like they have multiple ways that they could have made it work as what I imagined is intended, and they just fucked it up in every way. It's so silly. Had head takers led by Wolfguard battle leader. They killed your oath to score the boast. Head taker then died, just leaving just the Wolfguard battle leader. I don't know. Saga of the Bold. I have to look up what the saga is. I don't remember all their abilities. So it's what you wanted is it's the thing where like you so the question is, if your head takers kill your oath target to score slay them all, then your Wolfguard battle leader by himself kills the oath target again, does it count as the same unit? What does that matter for? There's like a thing for that, right? I believe that the unit is technically the attached unit. The bodyguard unit, I think, is the identity of the unit, and the only situation where they're counted as separate is for stuff where you're destroyed. So the Wolfguard battle leader unit, using attacks from a character would have killed it the first time. I believe that's how it works. You get the core rules real quick. Yeah, the leader is merged into the bodyguard unit. So you originally killed the oath target with the Wolfguard battle leader unit. Or excuse me, with the Wolfguard head tinkers unit. Then they were split, and the Wolfguard battle leader became a separate unit. Then he killed a second unit. Is, I believe, how it goes. The Sean ability might ruin the list until it's rewritten. If you ever scoot your backfield within 11 inches, your opponent now has to charge them. Well, you choose new ones every command phase, right? So it's like if there's something that like the Raven Guard player still has control over who gets picked. So if there's something that you could just fuck your opponent on, like you just wouldn't pick that. You know what I mean? The weird situation is if you like, when does he pick it? I forget. Is it in command phase? It's actually really bad timing. It is in command phase. Ew. So you could have a situation that's like really fucky where you select a unit as the target, and then they like reactive move, and they reactive move towards you to get more things within 12 inches for your charge phase. Then you just fuck your whole charge phase. That's like very specific though. But like the Raven Guard player theoretically has game knowledge of that occurring. So like, I don't know. It does need a rewrite so badly though. It's like just the worst written fucking rule ever. It was, I think, pretty clear that there's was almost certainly not play tested. But it is what it is. For the sake of sanity, let me turn the Black Templar all ancient list into an Imperial Fist all Terminator list. I don't want to play all Terminators. What about 24 Terminators? Is that fine? Or 23? 24. Is 24 Terminators enough Terminators, Ryan? If the rules were consistent, it would carry over. Since persistent effects like Oath do carry over. It's not like a persistent effect on the unit though. It's like it's a trigger that's checked when you kill them, right? If it was like an ability that said when this unit kills a unit, something happens until another timing, then the unit splits. Of course, that would be persistent. But I believe it. I don't know the exact effect that we're talking about, but I believe it's just checks over the course of the game if one unit killed two things. Fine, as long as I play it in remembrance of Belial. Of course, chat. Okay. Well, then maybe we'll play. Should we play after this, folks? I think it would be kind of cool. Sean's ability can ruin your own ability to heroically intervene. No, we talked about that one on the stream because when you heroically intervene, only the triggering unit is an eligible charge target. So this doesn't apply because of the if possible clause. So you go to heroically intervene, Master of Shadows checks, and it says you must declare the Master of Shadows target as the target of the charge. Then heroic intervention says no, it's not an eligible charge target. So Master of Shadows says, "Oh, I'm sorry, oops," and then you just go normal. You continue on normally. So that fortunately, that has been taken care of. That's not a problem. But when you're in your own charge phase, it definitely is really weird. Yeah. Fortunately, not being able to charge the unit period is good. Does sort of turn off the negative downside of the effect, which is solid. All right. Space Marine 2 DLC is the Mutilate Vortex piece, best boss fight in the game. Well, that's good. I'll probably play it at least one time. The problem is I have to download like 100 gigabyte game to play the one new update. Just takes a while. All right. Well, chat, why don't we go play some Imperial Fists? I was gonna make videos, but who needs to make videos when we could play Imperial Fists? I would need to get started soon, so I will go ahead and hop over to Twitch, I think. Here's my Twitch. Boop. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me and watching. I appreciate you. And I'll see you over on Twitch in a little bit. Cheers, everyone. Keep it classy, folks. I sort of low-key plan to be live tomorrow with some random shit. But If I don't do that because I'm swamped, then I will end up not being live and instead. Oh, I will have I have a game scheduled, so I will have a game for sure. So we'll be doing that. So I'll see you over there. Cheers, everybody. Asian Persuasion. You get the benefit from Liberator Assault Group when you're heroic, yes, because you have made a charge move that phase. Boom. It's not the charge bonus. The charge bonus is explicitly fight first. Anything else that triggers off of having you made a charge also works just normally. Cool. Cheers, everybody.